I'm Andrew Hopkins, and my topic is ministering to the net generation. How and what should the church be doing? So, to start off, we're going to compare some different generations of our time, some of the main big ones. One of them is the baby boomers. They were born through 1946 to 1964. There are 76 million today that make up 29% of this particular population. The social media platform of choice for this generation is Facebook, as boomers like to look at different pictures and are not really into posting post. So they mainly get on Facebook just to kind of snoop around and see what their families and their grandkids or their children are doing. Um, Boomers also use platforms such as online banking to handle finances and pay bills from home. They use the internet for online financial business more than any other generation. So the boomers are pretty secure that online banking is a secure way to handle all their financial aspects. But they are very skeptical when it comes to paying um, with things like with Apple Pay or things like that because they want to make sure that their information doesn't get stolen or hacked. The next generation is millennials, and this is actually the generation that I myself am in. So these millennials were born through the years 1981 to 1996 and make up 24% of the U.S. population and are estimated to about 77 million in the U.S. They are the first to come in contact with cable TV, internet, and cell phones all together at once. And they're heavier internet users than their predecessors, the baby boomers. So they're more online because they have different forms of technology to use the internet, opposed to when the baby boomers were first introduced to the computer. Facebook is the social media platform of choice for 72% of their generation, but they use Instagram and Snapchat as well. They view Instagram as a way to express their self image, as Instagram is a photo app. They feel that the photos that they are posting is an expression of who they are and what other people can see. And they view Snapchat, the picture sending app, that uh, your pictures disappear after a certain time. They view that as a way to have conversations with friends. There's also a texting and video um, utensil on Snapchat, and so you can record yourself or send pictures or even text to different friends. With Facebook, when it comes to millennials, they actually don't post that much, and one of the reasons they don't post as much is because of the news feed. There's a lot of worldwide news that is on Facebook in different articles, and they're actually kind of turned off by that, and so they kind of just kind of look through Facebook as well. They're more frugal with finances. They don't like spending money. They like pinching pennies, and they're more likely to use apps to find bargains and deals. So you're not going to catch them looking at the Sunday paper for ads or anything like that. You're going to see them downloading apps to find the best deal or looking at digital coupons or things like that. The next generation is Generation Z, or as some people like to call it, Gen Z. This is the only generation to grow up with all forms of technology. They were born in the mid 90s to the early 2000s, and they make up about 25% of the U.S. population. So, this particular generation has never not had any form of technology. It has all been digital, it has all had been smartphones, iPads, computers, internet, everything. They are all about social media and technology use. They do not watch TV shows, but are more consumed with digital media. Interesting fact about this generation is they are more into Netflix and Hulu. They are not really as into watching uh, cable TV or different TV shows that are on the TV. And an interesting thing is if you'll notice on things like Netflix and Hulu, they have ads um, through their shows, and that's because um, the company wants to appease to this generation as they are watching Netflix. They have no interest in seeing ads on the television because they're not watching the television. So this is a way that consumers can get their product out to the Gen Z can see it. Um, and they use smartphones in every occasion. Uh, if there's a saying called there's an app for that. And this stands strong with this generation. They like to use apps for everything. If it's reading their Bible, if it's checking out a store or using a map, it's going to be on their phone. And so we're going to take a look now at how we can reach some of these particular generations. Uh, this particular generation, the baby boomers, uh, since they like to use online banking more than any other generation, I was thinking that a cool way that we as a church could appease to this is maybe create a way for them to tithe or donate to different causes via the web. And this method doesn't have to just be limited to smartphone users. I think that the church can set up a way to give online on maybe their particular website that is safe and secure, and would grab this particular generation's attention. I know now that our church, we have an app where um, people can tithe automatically or get it set up to come out of their bank account automatically for the year every month or something like that. I think that's a great tool to reach this particular generation because um, they want something to be secure with their money. They want to make sure that their money is secure, and one of the reasons is from them, some of them growing up maybe poor or without money, and so I think that's all in a way that we can grab their attention is by doing that. And also, boomers like to use Facebook. It's their top choice in social media use. And so I feel that the church could connect with these individuals by creating a page for their church, maybe like an outreach page or just a page titled via whatever church. This page would allow boomers to see different events that are upcoming or even hear sermons through live stream. Um, I think one of the big debates now is if live stream is taking away from the body by allowing people just to watch at home or anything like that. I think it's a great utensil to use because if there are people who aren't comfortable coming to your church or coming into your church atmosphere just yet, they can see into the church through live stream. And so having Facebook allows people of this particular generation to see that. And as baby boomers are more on Facebook, they're going to see it more than any other generation. And so we definitely, as a church, want to be multi-generational and appease to them as well. And so the next generation that we would reach is millennials. And once again, this generation does use a variety of social media, not just Facebook. So they use Instagram and Snapchat. And a way that the church can reach this generation is to, I think, create an Instagram that would post different pictures of different events that are going on at the church. In student ministry, I know that we have an Instagram account and we want to post to it frequently and allow students or young adults to see what's going on inside of our ministry. And sometimes we can even post pictures of different scriptures or sermon series and to try to appease the outsiders of the church. And we could post different scriptures, and that could catch somebody's attention. That could make somebody think. If we are doing a different sermon series, sometimes the day and time we live now, people have unique sermon series titles. And I think that could definitely catch someone's ear or catch someone's eye. And, we can also post videos to Instagram. And so that allows people to maybe see what kind of sermon series it is, or what kind of students or adults are attending your church. And so these things can definitely spark interest. And they can even get people who see the different posts to start thinking about spirituality and get them to maybe get pulled into the local church. Now, when it comes to Snapchat, I think it would be beneficial for the church, small group leaders, to try to connect with the millennials with this. Now, I think Snapchat is it's kind of a gray area. The reason that Snapchat was first made unfortunately, was for the use of sending pictures, inappropriate pictures that would disappear. And so I think that to use this, we have to be very careful. And luckily, it does have a group chat setting. So for youth ministry, I know you could put your students into a group or your small groups into a group, and you can text them through this or send pictures or anything like that. Um, and so as millennials use this app, they use it more for catching up with friends and seeing stories. You can post a story to your Snapchat feed, and they could see it. You can see who sees it. It would be a great tool to promo different small group stuff. You can even make something called a geo filter, and you could put something about your event that you're doing and like your logo or something. I don't think that it would be good for a huge congregational use, like, for the whole entire congregation of the church. Uh, but I think it would be very, very well used for things like small groups and promoting small groups and promoting different events. And finally, the last generation that we're trying to reach is Generation Z or Gen Z. And so, once again, we need to remember that they have never grown up without technology. And so, we should make use of that. We need to reach them where they are. And where they are is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And so, one way that we can reach Generation Z is by creating different social media pages so that we can show what the church is doing and even help promote different events. We could use Instagram to emphasize the different small groups that we have available and even share videos of current series the church is going through. And we can use Snapchat to create group picture messages that can be safe and informative to our particular small group or student ministry. And so I know, like, for me, I have an Instagram account, and it's pictures. And so if something looks cool, if something looks unique, it's going to catch people's eye. We live in a time where uh, Gen Zs, millennials, are coming more towards a modern approach. Technology is more modern now. It's more up to date. It's more up to speed. It's evolving. And so we as a church need to be fresh in how we approach with social media and stuff like that in other ministries. So we want to make things, pictures, we want to make it look as modern and unique as possible because it's going to catch this generation's eye. So Gen Z also uses smartphones. And so I think a way to also minister to them would be to create applications for our particular church so that they can have it on their phones. I mean, their friends, if they see the app on their phone, or their parents see the app on their phone, or their relatives see the app on their phone, that's going to possibly spark a conversation. Like, hey, what kind of app is that? Gen Zs are a generation that they want what they want now. They want instant gratification. And so, with that being said, people, Gen Zs that see this particular app, they could be like, hey, that's cool. I want it. And so that's how, I don't know if like trends, like trends that go on in our world today, if somebody else has it, another Gen Z is going to want it. And so with that, the apps could kind of raise interest. It would also allow them to keep up with current events and even get notifications to when things at the church is happening. So, you can send, it's like for my iPhone, I can set it up to where I have different notifications that are sent. And so they can get notifications like, hey, like this sermon series is going to start next Sunday. Or, hey, this Wednesday night youth event is starting at 6:30. You don't want to miss it. And so it allows them to kind of keep up with the church without being actually inside the church at that moment. And so it also could let them hear sermons or podcasts right from the app. I know for me, like I personally listen to um, podcasts right from our church app and stuff. And so I think that you can upload different sermons or podcasts that you want your students to hear uh, onto this app, and you can say, hey, check out this, or a message that they liked on a Wednesday night. They could listen to it at home and get some more notes from it or get something that they missed. And you can even upload videos to it as well. And so you can also incorporate daily devotions and reading plans into these apps. And so once again, that could also tie into the notification things. You can get them to be notified of, hey, like you have a daily devotional today. You don't want to miss it. Hey, you have a daily devotional today. this is what it's going over. And you could even use this in small groups, in a small group setting, where if you have a small group of about 15 to 20 kids, and they all have the app, you can list out what you're going to go through, plan out what you're going to go through, and they can also be notified of, hey, next Wednesday we're going to go over the book of Genesis. And so I'm going to go ahead and want to start reading chapter 1 in Genesis to be ready for chapter 2 for next week.